So this week we're going to look at starting to understand slope. Slope is how steep something is. You can think about how steep are the stairs at your house or on your porch. How steep is a hill that you go running up or biking down. Ski slopes, anything like that. It's just a measure of how steep something is. Now, we have 4 types of slope. Your first 4 examples deal with those 4 types of slope. And we're going to look at how can we calculate them from a graph. So, a couple of things to remember about slope. Slope, we use the letter M. Think M for mountains. Okay, when we calculate it, we do rise over run. In other words, how far are you going up and down versus how far you're going left or right. Now, up and down, we know is the y-axis, so we know we're always doing y's on top. And run, the x-axis, goes on the bottom. So when we calculate these, all we're really doing is looking to see, are we moving up or down? Are we moving left or right? So all of these have 2 good points. I suggest starting on the left, just like when we read, and go from the left point to the right point. So for this first example, my leftmost point is here. So to get to the one here, I'm going to have to go up. I go up 1, 2, 3 spaces. So that's a positive 3 because we went up. Up we know is positive on the graph. Then I have to go 1 space to the right. Right is always positive as well. So rise over run is 3 over 1. Now you want to make sure, does it simplify or not? Well, does 3 over 1 simplify? Yes, it simplifies to 3. So our final answer for this problem would be M equals 3. Now the second one, if I start at my leftmost point, that's here, and I'm trying to move to this point. So to get there, I'm up at 2, this one's down at 1, so I have to go down 1. So I'm going to write that as -1 because it's going down. Then I move to the right 1, 2, 3 spaces, so that's a positive 3. So for this one, the slope, its rise was -1, the run was positive 3. So we have a slope of -1/3. Now these 2 are kind of our common types of slope that we're used to seeing. When we got a positive answer, or if you're looking left to right, it's like you're riding your bike up a hill, that is a positive slope. So if you're looking at a picture from left to right, it goes uphill, you know your answer has to be positive. On the other hand, if you're looking left to right and it looks downhill, like you'd be riding your bike down the hill, that tells you you have a negative slope. And your answer should be some type of negative answer. Now there are 2 other types of slope. We don't see them as often, but we do need to talk about them. This one, I know it's kind of hard to tell, but our line itself is right there along the x-axis. So if I do rise, well in this case my rise is 0. It's not going up or down at all. But to get from this point to that point, I have to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my run is 5, my rise was 0. So I have a slope of 0 over 5. Well, 0 divided by anything is just 0. So this is a 0 slope. It's flat ground, okay? The easiest thing to run on, flat ground. Now this one, we can see, is a vertical line. So if I try to do my rise from point to point, I am rising 1. But my run is 0 because it's not going left or right at all. So if I try to put that in my formula, I get a rise of 1 over a run of 0. Well, we're not allowed to divide by 0, remember? So that means we have an undefined slope. We can't do it. We can't calculate it because we're not allowed to divide by 0. So positive slope, it's like riding your bike up the hill. Negative slope is like riding your bike down the hill. 0 slope, that's riding your bike on flat ground. Undefined, that's like a wall. You can't ride your bike up a wall. You can't calculate that. It is undefined. So those are your 4 types of slope that you're going to have to look at from a graph. Remember, rise over run, y's over x's. So now you should be able to go ahead and either do the worksheet or do the Quizalize and continue practicing more of these problems.